Let me begin to tell you my story bit by bit. Taiwo is my wife. We're living together in this town in Nigeria when we first got married. And there was this gentleman that came to preach where we were. And my goodness, I was so blessed by what he said and his ministry. I wanted to give an offering. But I did not have the kind of money that I would have loved to give. So I wrote on a sheet of paper, I said, I pledge myself. I said, wherever you go, I will pay my way. I stopped every other thing I was doing. I will pay my way. I will go with you to minister to you. I played the keyboard. I was going to play during worship, but I didn't know if it was allowed. I played the keyboard. So, anywhere he went, I would go with him. I would play the keyboard. I would minister. My job was to make sure that the only thing the man of God had to think about was his message. That was my job. I was to be seen, not to be heard. I was just following him around, serving. Was I getting paid anything? No. Was I looking to get paid anything? No. It was my time of serving. Now let me tell you the interesting thing. The same man now said, after I'd served him for a while, he's going to Kenya. Will I come? Now, remember, I'm paying my way. So when this guy says, will you come? I'm thinking, hello, you have not even paid me anything. Now you're telling me. No. But I knew that my contract was with God. So I said, yes, sir. So I came with him. And my job was just to go around with this man and serve him. That was all. This was 1994. Then the Lord said to me, I want you to come back to Kenya and do a work for me here. I said, me? Number one, I'm the wrong person. Those days, my hair was jerry curled. I was wearing jeans and funny t-shirts. You understand what I'm saying? I was a mess, basically, many times to look at. So I said, come do a work for me. I said, God, you have to talk to my wife, not to me. When I got back to Nigeria, my wife said, first thing she said, baby, God has been showing me something from the book of Genesis, from Genesis chapter 12, about leaving your father's house and your mother's house. And I'm like, God, can't you even wait for me to settle down first? And that was the beginning of how I came to Kenya. It came on the platform of service. A lot of people today have not understood that the easiest way to have your own dream come to pass is to serve the dream of somebody else that's already working. Joseph had dreams. Where did his dreams land him? In prison. How did he get out of it? He worked on the dream of Pharaoh. And he got out. And because he was able to interpret and work on the dream of Pharaoh, his own dream came to pass. And that's a principle I've always applied in my business. When I now came back to Kenya the next time and I was going to now go into business, I looked for an organization, for an institute that was already doing what I was dreaming of doing. And I served. When I went in, I didn't go with any contract. I just went to serve. I remember in the early days when I'm taking my CV around, looking for work from different companies. And in Nigeria then, and they tell me, they said, who have you worked for? And I had not worked for anybody. And they said, sorry. And I'm thinking, duh, if you don't give me work, how will I have anyone to put on the list? And I'm sure you've gone through that before. So what did I do? I engaged the key of service. I told them, I said, all these companies, I said, okay, you know what? You don't need to pay me. I will work for you for free. I gave myself to serve. Because what I needed most at that point was not even the salary. It was the credibility of having them on my CV. By the time I worked for about 3 companies, and I chose big companies, about 3 companies, and I was helping them, structure change programs, for their stuff, structure employee programs, because my background is in demography and social statistics. And so I'm helping them, develop programs that will help them move to the next level of their companies, which is what I still do today. I'm helping them transform their companies. I sit down with the leadership. They give me their picture of success. They tell me, this is the dream I have for this company. So my job is to now sit down and do an appraisal of the structures, of the processes, and see how do we align the structures and processes with the picture of success. I began to do that. After I had done that for about 3 companies, I remember there was this particular one, a huge investment bank. And I knew I had them when the MD had to see me every morning. At that point, I knew, gotcha. So what do you think Wale did at that point in time? Wale said, sir, I think it's time for me to move on. Hey! They said, no, you can't. You can't. In fact, now these are the same people that said they didn't have a budget for me. You'll be amazed at how excellence and service will always produce a budget. They told me, they said, the MD told me, said, no. In fact, we're thinking of starting a whole training program, a training company, and you'll be the CEO. At that point, I said, with the utmost levels of modesty and humility, I said, you can't afford me, sir. Woo! It felt so good. And that is how I started. On the platform of service. So many people at the beginning want to be everything. My friend, even in church, I tell people, I say, no matter how anointed you are, if your anointing cannot tidy the room, sweep the floor, clean the toilet, your anointing will do no good on the pulpit.